Hello students, how are you all? Today's topic is behavior of real gases and deviation from ideal behavior. In your previous classes you learned ideal gas. The ideal gas is defined as the gas that follows Boyle's law, Charles law, Avogadro's law strictly is called ideal gas. And here we have real gases. The real gas is defined as the gas which do not follow Boyle's law, Charles law, Avogadro's law strictly is called as real gases. Real gas is defined as the gas which do not follows Boyle's law, Charles law, Avogadro's law strictly called as real gases. I am taking first gas laws. So first I am taking Boyle's law. The second one is Charles law. And the third one is Avogadro's law. Avogadro law. So here I am taking ideal gas. I am taking here is real gas. So the gas that follows Boyle's law, Charles law, Avogadro's law strictly we have to call them as ideal gas. It will follow Boyle's law. Ideal gas will follow Charles law and ideal gas will follow Avogadro's law. And coming to the real gases, the gas which do not follow Boyle's law, Charles law, Avogadro's law strictly, it do not follow Boyle's law, it do not follow Charles law and which do not follow Avogadro's law. The gas which do not follow Boyle's law, Charles law, Avogadro's law is called real gases. Ideal gases as well as real gases. So ideal gas is a imaginary gas, it is a hypothetical gas, but around us we have real gases. So all the gases are real gas. Around us we are experiencing real gases. Ideal gas is a hypothetical gas or it is imaginary gas. We can define ideal gas and real gas by taking ideal gas equation. I am taking PV is equal to nRT. So I am taking here PV is equal to nRT. So by taking ideal gas equation also we can define ideal gas as well as real gas. The ideal gas is defined by taking PV is equal to nRT. The gas which follows ideal gas equation at all temperatures and pressures. The gas that follows ideal gas equation at all temperatures and all pressures. So whatever the temperature you can take, whatever the pressure you can take, the gases will follow ideal gas equation. That gas is called as ideal gas. The ideal gas will follow ideal gas equation at all temperatures, all pressure and all temperatures. So any temperature you can take, any pressure you can take, the ideal gas will follow PV is equal to nRT. But in the case of real gases, the gas that follows ideal gas equation at a very low pressure, it will follow ideal gas equation at very low pressure and high temperature. By taking this one also we can define the real gas. The real gas is defined by taking this concept the gas that follows ideal gas equation, the gas that follows ideal gas equation PV is equal to nRT. The gas that follows ideal gas equation at a very low pressure, and a high temperature is called as a real gas. So this is ideal gas as well as a real gas. So ideal gas will follow ideal gas equation PV is equal to nRT equation at all pressures and all temperatures, but it will follow at very low pressure and high temperature. Next, so if you plot a graph of PV versus P. So in the case of ideal gases, we get a straight line parallel to x-axis. So for the case of ideal gas, this is ideal gas. For the case of ideal gas, the plot of PV versus P will get a straight line parallel to x-axis. In the case of ideal gases. But in the case of real gases, the plot of PV versus P is not a straight line parallel to the x-axis. They will show the significant deviation that may be positive or negative. So I'm taking hydrogen. This is the line for hydrogen, H2, helium, CO, CH4. So look at this. In the case of ideal gases, the plot of PV versus P is a straight line parallel to x-axis. But in the case of real gases, the plot of PV versus P, is not a straight line parallel to x-axis. It shows the significant deviation. That means the real gases do not following the ideal gases. So what is the cause of this deviation? Why don't we get the straight line parallel to the x-axis in the case of real gases? We got ideal gas case, we got the plot of PV versus P, straight line parallel to x-axis, but in the case of real gases, it is not a straight line. There is a significant deviation is there. So why the real gases do not follow the ideal gases? So cause of deviation. Why this deviation is happened? Cause of deviation. There are two assumptions of kinetic molecular theory of gases which do not hold good for real gases. The two assumptions of kinetic molecular theory of gases do not hold good for real gases. They are, the first one is there is no force of attraction between the gas molecules. According to kinetic molecular theory of gases, I took a container, suppose this is filled with a gas. So this is one gas molecule and this is another gas molecule. Between these two gas molecules, there is no force of attraction. This is one molecule and this is another molecule. Between these two molecules, there is no force of attraction. This is the first assumption. The second assumption is the volume of molecules of gas is negligibly small in comparison to the space occupied by the gas. The volume of molecules of gas is negligibly small in comparison to the space occupied by the gas. These two assumptions do not hold good for real gases, because the real gas molecules will attract each other. So if you take a container, the container filled with a gas, so between the gas molecules, so there is a attractive forces. The gas molecules will attract, but according to kinetic molecular theory of gases, so there is no force of attraction. But in real practice, the gas molecules will attract each other. So there is a force of attraction. The first assumption is not applicable for the real gases. The second assumption is the volume of molecules of gas, is negligibly small in comparison to the space occupied by the gas. But the molecules of gas is significant. But according to kinetic molecular theory of gases, it is not significant, it negligibly small. But according to in real practice, the volume of molecules of gas is significant. Because of these two reasons, there is a deviation of real gases do not follow the ideal gas equation. So plot of PV versus P, we are not getting a straight line parallel to the x-axis because of these two reasons. So let's write the statement relating to it. According to kinetic molecular theory of gases, there is a first there is a force of attraction between, there is no force of attraction between molecules of gas. There is no force of attraction between molecules of gas. No force of attraction between molecules of gas. This is the first assumption. The second assumption is the volume of molecules of gas. The volume of molecules of gas is negligible small in comparison to space or volume, space occupied by the gas. Space occupied by the gas. These are the two assumptions according to kinetic molecular theory of gases. But these two assumptions do not hold good for real gases. So first assumption, there is no force of attraction between the molecules of gas. But for this assumption, in the case of real gases, this is for ideal gases. In the case of real gases, there is a force of attraction. There is a force of attraction. Force of attraction between gas molecules or molecules of gas. So according to this theory, no force of attraction in gas molecules, but real gases have a force of attraction. This is the one cause of deviation. The second case is volume of molecules of gas. Volume of molecules of gas is significant. But it is negligibly small. Here, according to kinetic molecular theory, there is negligibly small in comparison to space occupied by the gas. But here is volume of the molecules of gas is significant. So because of these two reasons, there is a deviation in the real gases show the deviation from ideal behavior. So behavior of real gas is deviation from ideal behavior. These are the two reasons. First one is there is a force of attraction between the gas molecules of gas, and volume of the gas molecules is significant. Next, van der Waals equation for real gases. So we have ideal gas equation, PV is equal to nRT. This is ideal gas equation. And this ideal gas equation do not apply for the real gases at all temperatures and pressures. So at all temperature and pressures, we cannot use ideal gas equation for real gases. So there is a deviation. So here van der Waals modified the ideal gas equation. Van der Waals modified the ideal gas equation and he derived a real gas equation. So he derived the real gas equation. Van der Waals derived the real gas equation by modifying ideal gas equation. He did two corrections to the ideal gas equation. One correction is he did pressure correction. The second one is he did is volume correction. So van der Waals did pressure correction and volume correction to the ideal gas equation, and he derived real gas equation. So that is nothing but van der Waals equation for real gases. Now let us derive the van der Waals equation for real gases. First let us look at the pressure correction. So van der Waals correct the pressure as well as volume. So here I am taking a container, a vessel. This vessel is filled with a gas. That I am taking, this is a ideal gas I took. And another case I am taking, this is a same container, another container filled with real gases. So this is filled with real gas. So one vessel filled with ideal gas, another vessel filled with real gases. Now if you observe the pressure in these two cases, there is no force of attraction between the gas molecules. So the gas molecules will strike the walls of the container with full impact. So the molecules not dragging backside because there is no force of attraction between the gas molecules. Suppose surrounding this molecule there is a gas molecules. These molecules do not drag the molecule striking the wall. So that there is no force of attraction between the gas molecules. As a result, these gas molecules strike the walls of the container with full impact. So the ideal gas molecules strike the walls of the container with full impact. So there is no attractive forces between the gas molecules. But in the case of real gases, suppose this gas molecule I am taking, this gas molecule is striking the wall of the container. This is the wall of the container. This gas molecule is striking the wall of the container. But what is the molecules surrounds it? In between them there is a force of attraction. These molecules are dragging what is the molecule striking the wall of the container? As a result, this molecule do not strike the wall of the container with full impact. But here is a molecule striking the wall of the container with full impact. Pressure is accepting is very more. But here is this molecule do not striking the wall of the container with full impact, because these molecules are dragging. What is the molecule striking the wall? Back. So these molecules are dragging back. What is the molecule striking the wall of the container? As a result, this molecule do not accept maximum pressure upon the wall. So in practical, the ideal pressure of ideal is greater than pressure of real gas. Pressure of ideal gas is greater than pressure of real gas. Why it is so? Here is a molecule striking the wall of the container with full impact. So there is an attractive force between the gas molecule. But this molecule do not attract in the walls of the container with full impact, because these molecules are dragging back. As a result, the pressure exerted by these molecules on the walls of the container is very, very less. Simple words, pressure of ideal gas is greater than the pressure of real gases. Then pressure of ideal gas is equal to pressure of real gas plus he did P dash. It is nothing but pressure correction term. P dash is equal to pressure correction term. P dash is equal to pressure correction term. Next, the pressure correction term is depends upon the two factors. One is number of molecules for a unit volume. So pressure correction term P dash is directly proportional to number of molecules for a unit volume, and pressure correction term is directly proportional to the number of molecules striking the wall. So pressure correction term depends upon the two factors. That is, one is number of molecules for unit volume and number of molecules striking the wall. So P dash directly proportional from this. P dash is directly proportional to N by V square, isn't it? Then P dash is equal to AN square by V. So P dash is equal to AN square by V. Here A is equal to magnitude of intermolecular force of attraction. Magnitude of intermolecular force of attraction. Magnitude of intermolecular force of attraction or attractive force. Next, this is the pressure correction to the ideal gas equation. Next, volume correction. So van der Waals correct the volume of ideal gas equation, and he derived for equation for real gases. So here volume correction, first I am taking ideal gas. This is ideal gas. In this cycle, ideal gas molecule. These are ideal gas molecules. Volume is equal to V. Its volume is equal to, I am labeling as V. Next, I am taking a real gas. So these are the real gas molecules. Real gas. In the case of real gas, volume is equal to, we have to take V minus B. So because here suppose ideal gas is compressed. So when ideal gas is compressed, this is the volume occupied by the gas molecules. When all the gas molecules are compressed, the molecules are being close together. This is the volume occupied by the gas molecules. When compared to the total volume, this volume of the molecules of gas is insignificant. And in the case of real gases, the real gases are compressed. So this is the volume occupied by the gas molecule, this much. This much volume is occupied by the real gas molecules. So we are compressing ideal gas and we are compressing a real gas. Both we are compressing. If the ideal gas is compressed, this is the volume occupied by the gas molecules. When compared to the total volume, this volume is negligible. But in the case of real gases, when the real gases is compressed, this is the volume occupied by the gas molecules. So this volume we cannot neglect. It is a significant volume is significant. So this we are labeling as a B. This volume we are labeling as a B. B is the size of molecules. Here B is a excluded volume. Excluded volume. Here B is the excluded volume. It is also called as a co-volume. It is also called as a co-volume. So van der Waals modified this pressure and corrected volume is for n moles of gas V minus Nb. For corrected volume is V minus Nb, V minus B. If you take n moles of gas, we will get V minus Nb. So substituting volume correction term and pressure correction term in ideal gas equation, will get some taking ideal gas equation, PV is equal to nRT. PV is equal to nRT. Here P is equal to, so what we have write, P plus pressure of ideal gas is equal to P real gas, P plus pressure correction term we have it. What is the value we have? AN square by V square. So AN square by V square. So this is the pressure correction. Plus and volume correction, we have to write V minus Nb. So V minus Nb is equal to nRT. So P plus N square by V square, V minus Nb is equal to RT for n moles of gas. For n moles. For 1 mole of gas, you can take P plus A by V square into V minus B is equal to RT. This is for 1 mole of gas. 1 mole of gas. P plus A by V square into V minus B is equal to RT. This is for 1 mole of gas. For 1 mole. For 1 mole. Here B represents size of molecule. Size of molecules. Size of molecules. Here A and B are a constant. A is a constant and B also is a constant. So this is a real gas equation. P plus An square by V square into V minus Nb is equal to nRT. This is a real gas equation. So van der Waals equation for real gases. Next, application of van der Waals equation at different conditions of real gas. So first I am taking high pressure. At a high pressure, very important for objective, at a high pressure. So first I am taking a real gas equation, mathematical van der Waals equation, P plus An square by V square into V minus Nb is equal to nRT. This is a van der Waals equation for real gases. So this is for n moles. So I am taking n is equal to 1 mole of gas. This is for n moles. I want to write for 1 mole of gas. Then the equation will be P plus A by V square. P plus A by V square into V minus B is equal to RT. Isn't it? N is equal to 1, then P plus A by V square into V minus B is equal to RT. Then PV, P into PV minus PB plus A by V minus we will get AB by V square is equal to RT. Isn't it? Then PV is equal to, so I am transposing all these towards right side. PV is equal to RT plus minus P will become positive, PB plus I am writing positive term AB by V square. So AB by V square minus A by V. So this is the equation we will use to at high pressure. Look at this equation. So pressure is very high. The pressure is very high in the sense volume is negligible. So gas is compressed. So pressure is very high in the sense molecules are very close to each other. In such case, the volume is negligible. Then we can neglect V. Here is V. We can neglect volume. We can neglect this term also. We can neglect these two terms. We can neglect these terms are very small. We can neglect. Then what is the equation get is PV is equal to RT plus PB. So PV is equal to RT plus PB. These two terms are very neglected because pressure is very high. And the pressure is very in the sense gases are compressed. That means molecules are very close to each other. Gases volume is very small. So we can neglect these two terms. Volume is there. These two terms involve volume. These two terms we can neglect. Then remaining equation we have PV is equal to RT plus PB. So dividing this equation both sides with RT. Then PV by RT is equal to RT by RT plus PV by RT, isn't it? Then PV by RT, we have the compressibility factor Z is equal to PV by RT. So PV by RT is the compressibility factor for 1 mole of gas. For 1 moles of gas, Z is equal to PV by nRT. If n is equal to 1, this is equal to Z is equal to PV by RT. Then we'll get Z is equal to 1 plus PV by RT. So Z is greater than 1. Z is equal to 1. For ideal gases, Z is equal to 1. For ideal gas, Z is equal to 1. Z is equal to 1 for ideal gas. But here you get Z is equal to 1 plus something value will be there. PB by RT. PB by something value will be there. So Z value is greater than 1. So Z is greater than 1 in this case. Z is greater than 1. So for this case, the real gases will show the deviation from ideal behavior. At a high pressure, the real gases show the deviation from ideal behavior. Z is not equal to 1. Z is greater than 1. Second case, second I am taking at low pressure. At low pressure, I am taking this equation directly. PV is equal to RT plus this equation I am writing PB plus AB by V square minus A by V. So pressure is at a low pressure. Pressure is low in the sense volume is very large. So V is equal to very large. Volume is more. So when the volume is more, then size of the molecules will be negligible. Size of the molecule is negligible. So here PB and AB by V square we can neglect. They are negligible. Then we will get PV is equal to RT minus A by V. So we have to neglect AB and AB by V square. These two terms we have to neglect. Then PV is equal to RT minus A by V. So dividing equation both sides with by RT. So PV by RT is equal to RT by RT minus A by VRT. A by VRT, isn't it? Then PV by RT is equal to Z, compressibility factor Z. Then 1 minus A by VRT. So 1 minus A by VRT. So Z minus 1 minus A by VRT, since this value is something 1 minus something A by VRT, we have Z is less than 1. Here is Z is less than 1. In this case also, the real gases shows the deviation. If at a high pressure and at low pressure also, the ideal gas, so real gases show the deviation. So if Z is equal to 1, then only they will show the ideal behavior. So at high pressure and low pressure, they do not show the ideal, real gases do not follow the ideal gas condition, ideal gas equation. They will show the deviation. So next, third condition. At a very low pressure, at a very low pressure, I am rewriting equation. So PV is equal to RT plus PB plus AB by V square minus A by V, isn't it? Then that is equal to, here pressure is very low. In such case, we can neglect AB by V square, PB, AB by V square and AB, all these terms we can neglect. Then we will get PV is equal to RT. PV is equal to RT. So dividing equation both side with RT. PV by RT is equal to RT by RT. That is equal to Z is equal to 1. So Z is equal to 1. This is nothing. PV by RT is equal to Z. RT by RT cancel 1. So Z is equal to 1 in the sense at very low pressure. Z is equal to 1 in the sense that is ideal behavior. Z is equal to 1 in the sense ideal behavior. At a very low pressure, the real gases obey ideal gas equation because Z is equal to 1. Here Z is greater than 1, here Z is less than 1, here Z is equal to 1. So they show the ideal behavior at a very low pressure. And even you can take at a high temperature. Fourth case, at a high temperature. At a high temperature. I am rewriting this equation. I am rewriting PV is equal to RT plus PB plus AB by V square minus A by V. At high pressure, here A and B both will be get neglected. A and B, so he is B as well as A both will be get neglected. So all these terms is going to get neglected. Then equation is equal to PV is equal to remaining is RT. Then PV by RT is equal to RT by RT. That is equal to Z is equal to 1. So Z is equal to 1 in the sense that is ideal behavior. So real gases obey the ideal behavior. Real gas show the ideal behavior at a very low pressure and at a high temperature. At low pressures and at very low pressures and high temperature, the real gases follows the ideal gas equation. The real gases follow the ideal gas equation. Next, liquid state. In that first topic is vapor pressure. Vapor pressure. So let us understand what is vapor pressure by taking an example. I am taking a vessel. This vessel is filled with, imagine, water. Filled with water. Right? I am heating this water. I am heating it. Whenever the water is heated, water is converting into water vapors. We got vapor molecules. We got vapor. So what is the vapor is produced? This vapor exerts pressure upon the liquid phase. So this is the liquid surface. This is the liquid surface. What is the molecules vaporized? The water molecule vaporized. Those molecules exerts pressure upon the liquid phase. So at a given temperature and equilibrium conditions, the pressure exerted by the vapors over a liquid phase is called as a vapor pressure. The vapor pressure is defined as at a given temperature. At a given temperature under equilibrium conditions. Under equilibrium conditions, the pressure exerted by the vapors. The pressure exerted by the vapors over the liquid surface or liquid phase is called as a vapor pressure. And next one is normal boiling point. Normal boiling point. 1 atmosphere pressure, the boiling temperature is called as a normal boiling temperature, normal boiling point. The normal boiling point of water is 100 degrees centigrade. So at 1 atmosphere pressure, at 1 atmosphere pressure, the boiling point of water is a normal boiling point of water. Normal boiling point. Normal boiling point. And the normal boiling point of water is the normal boiling point of water is 100 degrees centigrade. So boiling point of water at 100 degrees centigrade. This is normal boiling point of water is 100. Next, standard boiling point. Standard boiling point. Standard boiling point. The standard boiling point nothing but the boiling point at 1 bar pressure. It is 1 atmosphere at 1 bar pressure. The pressure is 1 bar. Then we have to call it as a standard boiling point. Standard boiling point. And the standard boiling point of water is standard boiling point of water is 99.6 degrees centigrade. 99.6 degrees centigrade. So this is the normal boiling point of water. This is the standard boiling point of water. Normal boiling point at 1 atmosphere pressure, standard boiling point at 1 bar pressure. So this is a vapor pressure. Next, surface tension. Now let us understand the surface tension by taking an example. I am taking a vessel, imagine a beaker. This is filled with a liquid present in a vessel. Right, I am taking the interior molecule. This is the molecule present inside the bulk. This is interior molecule. All these are interior molecules. Understand purpose in drawing. Then these are the molecules present at the surface. So these are the molecules present at the surface. These are the interior molecules. Now I am taking this interior molecule. This interior molecule experience attractive forces in all directions. Between the molecules there is a force of attraction. This molecule attract all these molecules. So in interior molecules has attractive forces in all directions. This molecules has attractive forces in all directions. But the molecule present on the surface do not have attractive forces in all directions. So look at this. I am taking this molecule. So this side force of attraction is there, towards inside attractive forces is there. Upon the surface above this there is no molecule. So upside there is no attractive forces. The net force of attraction towards into the interior of the into the bulk of this liquid. So net attractive force towards inside. Net attractive force towards inside. Next, what I am doing is I am drawing a one perpendicular line upon its liquid surface. I am drawing a one line upon its surface. I am drawing one line. So by taking this concept we can define surface tension as the force acting per unit length. The force acting per unit length perpendicular to the line, perpendicular to line drawn on the surface of liquid is called as surface tension. This is the definition of surface tension. So here is molecule present interior. The experience attractive forces in all directions, but the molecule present on the surface do not experience attractive forces in all directions. Above this there is no molecule, there is no attractive forces. So the net force of attraction towards interior, net force of attraction towards inside into the bulk of this liquid. So I am drawing one line upon the surface of liquid. I am drawing one line. The force acting per unit length. The force acting per unit length perpendicular to the line drawn on the surface. Line drawn on the surface is called as a surface tension. This is the definition of a surface tension. SI units of surface tension. SI units is equal to Newton per meter. The SI unit is Newton per meter inverse. This is surface tension. Next, viscosity. For example, a liquid is flowing over a fixed surface. So I am taking this is a fixed surface. It is a fixed surface. So over here this fixed surface the liquid is flowing in the form of layers. So liquid is flowing in the form of layers over a fixed surface. So there is a internal friction between the layers of fluid. There is a internal friction between the layers of fluid. As a result, there is a resistance to flow. So viscosity is a measure of this resistance to flow. Viscosity is a measure of resistance to flow which arises due to the internal friction between the layers of fluid as they slip past one another while liquid is flowing. And another important point is the layer of molecules which immediate contact with fixed surface. The layer of molecules immediate contact with fixed surface is stationary. The layer of molecule immediate contact with the fixed layer is stationary. So while moving away from this fixed surface, the velocity of the layer is going to get increases. So while the distance increases from the fixed surface, the velocity of the layer is going to get increases. And there is a regular gradation of velocity in passing from one layer to next. This is nothing but laminar flow. laminar flow. Imagine this is a flow, layers of flowing liquid and this is one layer and this is another layer and this is another layer. So imagine these are the layers of liquid and here dz is the distance between the two layers. Dz is the distance between the two layers. If the velocity of the layer, if the velocity of layer at a distance dz, if the velocity of layer at a distance dz is changed by the value du, then velocity gradient is given by the amount of du by dz. Du by dz. What is the point is if the velocity of layer at a distance dz is changed by the value du, then the velocity gradient is given by the amount du by dz. And next point is the area of contact. The area of contact of layers is A. So the area of contact of layers is I am labeling as A. So the force is required to maintain the flow. The force is directly proportional to velocity gradient du by dz. Velocity gradient here du by dz is the velocity gradient and force is directly proportional to area of contact of layers. Then force directly proportional to A into du by dz. So removing the proportionality by keeping constant F is equal to eta into A du by dz. So here is a force is required to maintain the flow of layers. Here eta is the proportionality constant, nothing but it is a coefficient of viscosity. Coefficient of viscosity. The units of coefficient of viscosity, units, Newton SI units, first SI units, Newton second meter inverse or Newton second per meter square, In CGS system the unit is Poise. So these are the units of viscosity. SI system, the unit is Newton second per meter square. In CGS system, the unit is Poise. So this is viscosity.